Okay, well, it's a late night on Friday. We just went to a birthday party with some friends at Buca di Beppo's, which is an Italian place and it serves it family style. So that's why I am posting this at 11:30 p.m. and then I think I'm going to go to bed. Even though I don't have to work tomorrow, Sean has to work tomorrow. But anyway, I got some emails and I also got a couple suggestions, comments about what I should talk about for this vlog. So you won't be able to see Sean all the way, but you'll be able to see his hand. So Sean is going to draw right here. Come on. Whoa, there he is. Woo! And he is, okay, that's good. Whatever, draw. All right, and so it looks like Joni, I am going to talk about the comment you left about my childhood as little Craig. Now, little Craig's childhood wasn't that interesting. My father was in the military, and he's also a pastor, but even though he was in the military, he was a chaplain, so he didn't have to move around too much. And I lived in a couple, we moved around a couple times, but not a whole lot. And I grew up in Kansas, but one of my first, well actually my first memory as a child was when I was 2 years old, and my mom and dad took me to Disneyland and Universal Studios, and there were just a couple things I remember. The first thing was when we were at Disneyland, I remember Dopey accidentally knocked me down. I don't know if he bumped into me or what happened. Obviously he didn't do it on purpose, but he got close to me and I fell down, and Snow White picked me up and gave me a kiss. So I bet that's why I like Disney so much. So that was one memory, and the other memory I have is at Universal Studios at the same trip. There's a ride, and it's a bus or a trolley, and it goes through different lots. But the only thing I really remember, and okay, this is just my memory, whether it's really happened there or not, I don't know. So this was probably it was probably 1975. We went over a bridge that started to fall down as we were going over it, and then we also went into a tunnel, and I call it the Bionic Man Tunnel. I don't know how I thought that, but it's as it was going through the tunnel was spinning around, yeah, just like that. Woo! And so it kind of threw your equilibrium off, and that's what I remember. So those are my two youngest memories. And yes, a couple other memories. When I lived in Washington and Pushaston, which is on the eastern side of the state, I remember my childhood friend and I were playing on an apple bin, and I fell off, and I fell into some wood piles, and I hit my head and got cut. And so actually I thought that this bump on my head was scar tissue from that. That's just dumb. When I first found out about this thing, no, it didn't come from that. But I fell down there, and then we had another friend who had a well, and I was always told, don't go into the well, don't open the well door. And it looked like a little house, it looked like a little playhouse. But what did I do? I opened the door and went to it and fell. I don't know, it seemed a long ways. I'm sure it was only like 5 or 6 feet. And fortunately there was wooden boards over the well, and I was in there and I was yelling and yelling and crying and crying and crying and crying. And so finally they heard me, and they came out and they took me out of the well, and they scolded me and got mad at me and then hugged me, and then the family gave me one of their favorite board games. And all I remember is that it had little blue and yellow and green pieces, which they all do. They're kind of like shaped like that. I don't know, almost like thumb shaped. And the youngest girl started crying because that was her favorite board game, but I took it anyway. And let's see, what other things? Oh, one of the places that we lived in was in this very small town, and after school I was to go straight home. That's all I was supposed to do. I wasn't supposed to do anything. Oh, that reminds me of something else. I'll talk about that later. But This was in Kansas, so it was probably 3rd, 4th grade. We're supposed to go straight home after school, and one of my friends, her name was Trisha. Yeah, she really wasn't my friend, because she was mean to me. She was mean to me, but somehow I hung around her. I don't know what that was all about. But on the way home, she would stop at this old lady's house, and inside she had like a candy jar. And you know those they're like those orange fruit, soft, sugary things. That's what she had. And for a couple of weeks there, I would stop at her house with her and take a piece of candy and then go home. Yeah, when my parents found out about that, I got in trouble. And also, going back to when I was young, I was in, it must have been kindergarten. Maybe 4 or 5 years old. We had our house, and then there was the fire station. This was a very small town, maybe 300-400 people at the most. And my boundaries were not to go past the fire station, because if I went past the fire station, that's where a road was. And so I knew those boundaries, and for some reason I got mad at my parents, and so I told them I was going to run away. So they helped me pack my bags and get everything set, and they said, you know your boundaries, and I said, yes I did. And so I walked out the door with my bag because I was going to run away. I don't know where I was going to run away, and I looked back to see if they were looking, and I didn't see them, and so then I just took off as fast as I could. Well, my parents told me later that they were watching me behind the curtain, and I got to the boundary line, and I looked back, and I crossed it, and yeah, Dad came out, and of course I got a spanking for going over the boundaries. In that same place, I have so many memories of the same place. My father and another family, my friend's name was Brendan. My father and his dad, one Christmas Eve, both rented Santa Claus costumes, and they switched. So Brendan's father, actually, I'm sure they rented the same costume, but my dad and my mom were like, come on, Santa Claus is here. And we peeked around the corner, and I didn't know this at the time. Of course I thought it was Santa Claus, but my friend Brendan's father, came in and put the gifts underneath the tree, and I was so excited. I got to see Santa Claus. And we looked out the back window, and I saw Rudolph's nose. I'm sure it was a flashlight or something. So excited. Well, then, come to find out, after I'd grown up, teenager or whatever, that my dad did the same thing to their family one year. And that was a nice little memory. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's so much more interesting stuff to tell you, Joni, about my childhood. I already told you that I talked a lot in class. I talked a ton in school and got sat in the corner a lot. My favorite teacher, 2nd grade, we had gum Fridays. We can all bring gum to school on Fridays, and we can chew gum, and that was very exciting. And also in grade school, there was a girl. She was the daughter of a doctor in town. Her name was Amy. Amy, what was her last name? I don't remember. And this was 5th, 6th grade, and I think I had a crush on her. But she gave me her chocolate milk during milk break. Do you remember milk breaks? Milk breaks was like 15 minutes during mid-morning, and at this time, like, you can get a little carton of milk for like 10 or 15 cents. I forget what it was. And the teacher would call your name, and you would say white or chocolate or none, and she would always give me her chocolate milk. So I had 2 milks for milk break. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's almost 10 minutes. It's 9 minutes and 20 seconds, and I've gone on and on and on. So those are just a couple little things about my childhood. So I hope you have a good weekend, and I'm sure I will do a vlog tomorrow sometime. But I'm tired now, so I'm going to go to bed. Okay? Good night.